Hello, welcome to the Hard Folk Podcast. My name is Matt Gower. Today I am joined by the family name. They are a duo, a pair of brothers named Ben and Jacob Matt, and they are also going to be playing as part of CKCU Presents Friday Night Folk May 1st at Art House Cafe. So I'll put the show info in the description, so make sure you get your tickets early because, as always, ticket quantities are limited. And, you know, if you buy your tickets in advance, it helps us to gauge how many people are going to come to the show. So it helps us out as artists. It helps you out in your life to plan ahead. And it helps us when you plan ahead, too. So there you go. One thing also I should mention is if you like what you're hearing with this podcast, tell somebody about it, because the best way to help to promote, other than going to shows, help to promote your local music scene is to tell other people about the artists that are playing and that are coming through and doing podcasts like this one. So tell somebody about the podcast. That's your homework for this week. Anyways, here's my interview with the family name. I am here with one half of the family name. The second half is yet to come shortly. I'm here with Ben from the family name. Welcome to the Hard Folk Podcast.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome. Now, Ben, does the family name have a last name, or is it a closely guarded secret?
We do have a last name. It's not very secret. It's Matt.
Like Matte?
Yep, that's it.
I like it. I guess it's not so shiny and glossy, so you had to go with the family name as the
Exactly.
name. Now I'm curious. You guys call yourselves the family names. You're brothers. Have you grown up just always playing music together?
We have not, actually. That's an interesting one. So we started playing music together just over the pandemic.
Oh wow.
So I was in a rock band back in the day in my youth. I've been playing bass since I was a teenager.
Okay.
So I played in a band in Ottawa for a while. And that's kind of during that time was when Jacob picked up the guitar and started to learn. We neither of us had actually ever sung before. Is that the correct past tense? Sang?
Oh,
Neither of us had done that before. Is he here?
He's here now. Welcome, Jacob.
I'm here. Talking smack about him then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I deserve it.
Anyways, so we're just talking about how Ben and basically how the family name got its start, and so keep going. Tell me the story.
So I was playing bass in a rock band, very different from the type of music that Jacob and I make now. And Jacob was learning to play the guitar at the time. And we weren't singers. This has been something that we tried kind of for the first time when Jacob was getting better at the guitar and I was getting better at the mandolin, which is my second instrument. I picked that one up later. We thought, well, let's start to get together and, get better together, start to learn some songs together. As many people do, we started on covers, also very different from what we're playing now, but kind of still in that bluegrass, newgrass, folky space that first kind of drew us to these instruments.
Sure.
And started singing. And once we started to layer in the harmonies, I think, was when we were kind of like, oh, you know what, this actually sounds pretty good. Maybe we should start hopping up on some stages and trying this out. So we did an intensive New Year's resolution one year to hit the open mic at Bowie's here in Smiths Falls every week for a whole year.
Wow. For the whole year, like no breaks, 52 weeks straight?
That was the goal. We got 4 months in when the owner of Bowie's reached out or came to talk to us and said, do you guys just want to play like an actual gig? And then we did that. And so that was our first gig. So from then on, the weekly thing had to drop back because our first ever gig was a 3-hour gig.
Whoa.
There was a booking situation that happened. Some hours to play the Friday for like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oops, can you do Saturday for 3 hours instead? Okay.
So you guys are a brand new duo act. How did you fill up 3 hours worth of material?
Well, we stopped going to the weekly open mic so that we could spend all of our spare time learning a 40-song set list.
Yeah.
he had given us the option to like repeat a set because the crowd at that bar is often like early crowd leaves, late crowd comes in.
Sure.
But we thought, you know what, let's just throw ourselves into the fire and get ourselves ready early. And we spent a few months learning 40 songs and went for it when the
Yeah, we
Wow.
show.
had like I think almost half of that was still original songs. So
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'd written quite a bit before then. We wrote a few quickly as well to get them
Mhm.
ready. It
Mhm.
was it was a stressful time because we were obviously also very nervous about having our first real gig where we sang for the first time on stage at a gig. But it was a good experience, I think.
Nice. And how does it and how did it feel kind of just being vulnerable as brothers playing personal songs together?
Do you have any
yeah,
thoughts on it?
uh, I guess yeah, like typically we our brother relationship, isn't very uh, vulnerable with each other. It's more like telling each other that they're dumb or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess it was kind of weird. We didn't really talk about like the meanings of lyrics or anything, but no, it was good. I think if anything, it made it like easier that it was my brother and not someone else because we all always have been close. So even if like it wasn't like in that vulnerable way, it was still in my mind at least easier to be doing this all with my brother. Like I have full confidence in him and his choices and vice versa, I think.
No, I wouldn't have said that. No, I'm just kidding.
No, is there sort of a shared musical language between the two? I know that sometimes twins sort of have a shared language, but is there a familial kind of language that you guys share that is sort of a shorthand?
That's an interesting question. I would say maybe not so much a language as an understanding. Um, having been not a songwriter, but in other bands before and jamming with other people, it's just kind of different when it's someone that you're more or less familiar with. In our case, I think we just when we're writing a song, if we have feedback or we want to change an arrangement, it's very easy to just give direct feedback, no ego, no
Mm.
defensiveness. We both kind of know that we're working towards the same end goal, so we can very easily hash out decisions on where a song should go and how to finish it.
So it's not like a Gallagher brothers situation, an Oasis situation.
Not yet, but there's still time.
Yeah, lots of
Now I was creeping on your Instagram page just to kind of look for research and stuff. Are one of you a new father? Is that did I catch that as an aside in one of your posts?
This is true. Yes.
Which one?
I
Which one?
I am a new father.
Oh, nice, nice. How has fatherhood affected your dynamic or relationship with Ben?
Well, he has to come to my house for practice a lot more often than I go to his house.
Sure.
But
It's a long 30-second commute through the backyard. So
yeah, I actually gave him the heads up before we told anyone that we were expecting a baby because, that could definitely affect uh, the music because,
Yeah.
like, that's a big life change. So, no, I think Ben's been pretty easy about it. We've kind of planned ahead together really well. And, there was like a short break this winter from gigging and stuff,
Hmm.
but we're already getting back into it with the new routine and stuff. And it helps that we're neighbors. So it makes it makes things a lot easier for like coordinating and practicing and stuff like that. So
Sure. And if the baby's sleeping, maybe jamming it at Ben's house, right?
exactly. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
baby
No.
is pretty good actually
Oh
with the
yeah.
music so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys aren't like a thrash metal band either, so,
No.
you could practice. You could do like an entire set worth of lullabies and
Yeah. Maybe
sing the baby
throw
to sleep.
some Raffi in there at some point or something.
There you go, Raffi. If you ever followed him on Threads, he's getting pretty like angry at Trump. He's a good
Yeah.
Threads follow. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna check that out.
You should check that out for sure. Now, so for me, like when I was a new dad, like I guess it was 8 years ago now, I just really found it hard to balance music and taking care of a newborn. Jacob, how do you balance that situation, like writing and performing and practicing, and also being a good dad?
Hmm. Well, hopefully I am being a good dad. Um, but I don't know. We are both kind of lucky. We have some good circumstances that support the music, I guess. Like we
Hmm.
both work from home, and my schedule is pretty flexible, I'd say. Like I can start my day whenever I want and end it whenever I want, as long as I'm putting in my full time or whatever.
Hmm.
So uh, just with that, and just good communication with the wife. She's very supportive of everything. She loves music. She comes to a bunch of our shows. So she had actually already brought our son to two of our
Wow.
shows. He's only 4 months old. He's been to more shows than some other people that you'd think would be coming to our shows. But
You're gonna have
no,
to get
it's
him a little t-shirt onesie kind of thing for your band.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I actually did that with my two nephews. We got them some custom little kid shirts with the family name on there.
Nice, nice. Now you guys said that you like Ben, you said you were in other bands that weren't folk music, but you both kind of started learning together. So why folk music? What drew you both to that genre? I guess it was now 6 years ago.
Yeah, well on my side. When I was in my other band, I actually got introduced to some of the new grass bands that
Hmm.
were blowing up at the time, right? Punch Brothers, Trampled by Turtles,
Yep.
and a lot of those types of guys, Mandolin Orange. And I think Jacob started to discover it kind of around the same time, but through a separate path because his in law's family are very into country music, classic country music. And then, as he started to look for new stuff, I think it just kind of branches into crossover stuff. I'm sure there's some algorithms at play that started to, push us towards similar music as well. But
Hmm.
we started to find some of these bands and we started to show each other bands from kind of like slightly different influences. And that's was our starting point where the songs that crossed over that we both really liked, we were like, let's learn those ones and go from there.
Nice. Yeah. Now you guys are based in Smiths Falls, Ontario, which is I would consider it to be a growing scene from what I've kind of seen and heard. What are some of the challenges and benefits of being based in a smaller city like Smiths Falls?
Well, that's a great question. I would say there's more benefits than downsides, as
Okay.
weird as that might sound. We're actually not even in Smiths Falls. We live out kind of in the woods in Lombardy, which is a township, a little town in Rideau Lakes. But nobody's ever heard of it, so we say Smiths Falls. And also because Bowie's was our start, that's our home base.
Yeah.
So that's where we're based. And that having those kinds of built-in limitations in a way kind of forced us out of our shell because there's not a lot of venues to play. There are a lot of good bands that have moved here over the time. I think pandemic kind of did that for a lot of people, right?
Hmm.
Um, and with Bowie's, the scene's growing. Locals are starting to get more into music and play more. But because it's such a small pool, you kind of have to step outside of your comfort zone. You have to go out and play other towns if you want any kind of a steady, uh, just kind of gigging schedule.
Hmm.
So, where in my first band back in Ottawa, it was easy to just fall into like playing once every other month
Yeah.
and play with the same bands over and over again. In this case, you want to branch out a little bit. There's still, I don't know how many dozens, right, of small towns within an hour drive. And so that kind of led us to finding those pretty quickly, finding other open mics and then booking gigs, a healthy mix of bar gigs. So having that 3 hour set early on also was very helpful because that allowed us to go out to those small town music venues that just want a 3 hour, dinner time or background set. And so we got to cut our teeth doing that. So it made us get creative and it made us step outside. And I think that's making it easier for us to continue branching out and exploring from there.
And
And I'd add to
go
like
ahead.
Sorry, I'd just add to like the small music community is really nice too because it's such a tight group
Yeah.
and you see each other all the time in the same spot, usually at Bowie's, and everyone's super helpful and friendly. So that's a huge plus too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and would you say that the talent pool is kind of concentrated in Smiths Falls? Like it seems like it's a little kind of like diamond in the rough kind of situation.
Yeah, definitely. There are definitely areas that we go where there isn't much of a local scene at all.
Mhm.
Uh, and Smiths Falls is disproportionate for sure. There's tons of talented musicians and very active and engaged musicians here.
Why are musicians like drawn to Smiths Falls, do you think?
Well, it's a good question. It was a struggling town a while back, as a lot of people know, and I think maybe a combination of efforts from the town to really diversify and attract more types of folks. Creative businesses started to show up. And then I would say to keep shouting out Bowie's here, I think that did a lot for the scene as well because the owner of Bowie's is a musician himself.
Okay.
Used to tour Ontario a good bit and beyond, and has a lot of connections. So he brings in great touring acts from Canadian touring acts from kind of all over the place. And I think that kind of stimulated interest for a lot of people. So that, yeah, kind of grew from there.
Hmm. And now going back a few months, we first crossed paths and met each other at the Ontario Folk Music Conference or Canada Folk, whatever they're calling it now. We met at the Folk Music Conference in October, and I seem to remember you saying that you were self-producing all your work. So is that still what you're doing? You're producing all your own material?
Yep. We did two singles with David James Allen out in Prince Edward County. So those are
Okay.
the two most recent releases we've done.
Hmm.
And that was a fun experiment. So David plays a bunch of additional instrumentation on those tracks,
Okay.
where yeah, I mean, as you know, we're an acoustic duo, and that's how we did our first EP. So we decided to try something different and do two tracks full band style.
Uh-huh.
Um, but the next release, yes, we're going to go back to the self production, self recording.
Cool. Do you have like a set process as far as how you record, or like how do you do it? How's it work?
What's fun about it is that we get to decide totally on our own and we're not tied to a studio schedule, right? So
Sure.
that gives us a lot more flexibility. I'm sure you know, I think you do a lot of your own stuff.
Hmm.
And it's kind of changed. So we did one EP that was totally live off the floor,
I think it was
and
called
that
that or something, wasn't
was
it?
live from home, is
Live
what
from
we
home.
call
Right, right,
it.
right.
Yeah. So we did six tracks, and it was in that same kind of time where we were doing our push for that big 3 hour set. We had brought the same kind of mentality to it, where let's get really, really good and really, really tight and challenge ourselves to do a live off the floor.
Hmm.
Um, Again, to accelerate kind of our skills and make sure we get to where we want to be quickly. And so that was really cool. This time around, the plan is to do things a little bit differently. We're not going to do live off the floor this time. But what we find is an interesting thing to try to capture is the harmonies and those points where the notes intersect and really create a chord, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When we tried tracking independently before we did the live off the floor, and just those slight differences in kind of phrasing or enunciation can throw the whole thing off.
Sure.
So that's why we did the live off the floor. This time around, we're going to do something kind of somewhere in between, because obviously the live off the floor challenge with some really nice tube condensers led to less control on the production side of things. When it came to mixing,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
you get what you've got. So we're going to track the instruments separately. We'll do our bed tracks. We will track guitar and mandolin first, and then we'll record the vocals together. Um, Separate mics, but still one take at the same time, and give ourselves a little bit more control on the post production, still capture that live harmony feel. And yeah.
Yeah, there's also just like a little bit of, I don't know what, a little bit of magic that you don't quite get when you're doing it separate. some, I don't know what it is, but it just sounds way more natural and better when we're singing together at the same time.
I've noticed that, like when I'm singing in harmony live, you can kind of feel that connection. You can feel that you can feel where the notes fit together more live than you can recording. And Ben, as you said, like it's hard to overdub harmonies and get that enunciation right on. But like when you're both doing it at the same time, it probably is a little bit of an easier situation.
Yeah, you're looking at each other. You can see the mouth movements. You can see the breathing, and it makes it just that much
Yeah.
faster
That's the most
subconsciously.
frustrating ththing about recording is overdubbing harmonies and like just getting that enunciation right on. It's that's the thing. One of the things I hate the most, I would say. Yeah. Now take me through your songwriting process. How do you guys write? I'm curious. Like, does one person bring it to the other, or do you write together, or a combination?
Yeah, I think for the most part, yeah, we write lyrics on our own now, and we bring that to each other, or maybe we'll write like a lyrics and a little guitar part or something. But yeah, it's pretty separate typically, and then we'll kind of like get it most of the way there on our own first. But we didn't always start that way. We weren't that confident in our lyric writing, so we started off by adding music to the poetry of our friend Pat.
Okay.
So a lot of our original material, yeah, a lot of that hasn't been recorded, but it was that's how we did it. We kind of wrote with Pat and then added music to it. But it's more lucrative to be just two, so we kicked him out of the band. No, I'm just kidding. No, we just got more confident in our own abilities,
Yeah.
and we had our own things to say. So yeah.
How did you develop your songwriting voice, like for lyrics? How did you develop that confidence and develop your voice?
I'd say we're probably still developing it. But yeah, for me, it's a lot of, I've been listening to music very analytically for a long time, right? I'm sure you, as well as
Yeah.
someone who produces, right? You're thinking about all these things as you listen to it. And there were always things that I noticed that I might say differently, word differently. Started to realize things, narrative approaches that I liked and didn't like, to the point where I finally decided, well, let's just try it out. I have these strong opinions, but I haven't actually done it.
Yeah.
So let's see what it will sound like if I do it. And that's kind of how I started. I don't know.
And
Is it different for you, Jacob?
for me, I originally just thought I was gonna learn how to play guitar, and then I thought maybe, oh well, it'd be nice to like maybe sing a few campfire tunes eventually. So I just kind of started there. But then I did find like naturally I was quite comfortable singing, so I wanted to get better, and I found it really helpful recording myself. So I had this like Instagram page that I made a while back when I first started, and I just posted recordings of myself on there. Not many followers or anything like that, but it forced me to like, keep practicing to get that perfect take. And then doing that like consistently, I found I got better really fast.
Nice, nice. And you guys kind of mentioned a few influences off the top there, like some of the new grass, trampled by turtles. I'm curious what your musical influences, because I mentioned, like I think I mentioned this to you guys too when we first met. Like I'm hearing a lot of Jayhawks, especially, and like your whole vibe is almost a sort of a reminiscent of the Milk Carton Kids. I don't know if you guys know them, but tell me about your influences.
Well, you cracked the number one right there, is for sure the Milk Carton Kids. We're huge fans. We actually discovered them after we started playing together.
Hmm.
So I'd say our stuff kind of sounded a little bit different before. And then as we were discovering music together, we found those guys and we were like, oh man,
I
this is
know.
it. This is what this is what we've been wanting to do. So they've been a really big influence from there, like studying what it is that they do and
Yeah.
what we can take for ourselves, but still finding our own voice within that.
Mhm.
But we
Um,
also have influences in common with the Milk Carton Kids, which I thought was pretty interesting. Like, like our parents were really into like Simon and Garfunkel, so we like grew up listening to that type of music.
Yep.
Everly Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Everly Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Milk Carton Kids are a good study, not only in songwriting and harmony because they're like it's a master class, like they're amazing, but also in their stage banter. If you ever watch them on YouTube, they're just hilarious. And you mentioned it right there, like it's like Everly Brothers meets Simon and Garfunkel meets like Smothers Brothers. So
Smothers Brothers. Yeah,
yeah, is that
exactly.
is that another one of your own? Like I see the stand-up bass. Like I feel like you guys are a Christmas, not a Christmas, a Halloween couple's costume waiting to happen with the stand-up bass there.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, the banter is definitely a big influence. Flight of the Conchords as well, of
Oh,
course,
sure, yeah,
another acoustic duo that's kind of big in that and very dry. We
yeah,
love that dry, just you'd almost miss the joke if you weren't paying attention kind of delivery.
okay. You're
And
gonna get
yeah, so,
along well with Ethan, by the way.
oh yeah, we like Ethan.
Okay,
We met him at a few events. Big
okay.
fans. Yeah, so we try to incorporate that as well. I think it's been interesting getting into folk and the bluegrass and all that kind of stuff a little bit later. I think it probably resonates now because maybe we're not as young as we used to be, and so you relate to a lot of these kind of bigger themes. And what I also love about the Milk Carton Kids and all these guys we're talking about is that when you get into these kind of like maybe deeper, heavier, sadder themes and this softer, chiller music, we found learning from these guys, it's very important to have a performance that does a little more for the audience, right?
Hmm.
We need to take that out to sometimes, lighten it up, not be so serious, and avoid long, awkward pauses. The
Yeah,
silence between the songs is part of the show too.
keep
So,
everything
Yeah.
flowing.
yeah,
We got to entertain the crowd. We can't just make them cry and fall asleep.
Yeah, that crying is good, falling asleep not so much. But yeah, no, I get that for sure. Like it's something that you know you want to entertain the people, and awkward silences are always just not great. They're awkward. That's why they call them awkward silences, right?
yeah. Though I guess sometimes we do try to create them, but only when it's part of the bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Ben likes to like throw in surprise bits he's prepared, catch me off guard, and make me look silly in front of everybody. So
Yeah,
I'm working on
one of
models.
my favorite things to do is just to tell a joke that'll just amuse myself and go over the audience's head. So
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. And now we talked about your musical, like professional musical influences. I'm curious what your personal musical influences are. Like who's someone in your life that got you into the path of performing and playing and writing music?
Ooh, I'll go first, Ben.
Okay.
Ben already mentioned it, but most of it was like my wife's family. She has a huge family. They all live out in New Brunswick, and so they
Oh,
have these big family reunions out there.
mhm.
And I guess I've been going for a long time now. And they all sing and play guitar like it's a big party every night. They're all playing
Wow.
all the classic country tunes well into the morning. So like that was like a huge inspiration for me, just like those kind of like kitchen party style jams and stuff. But it also like, and I hate to admit it, Ben was a big reason why I got into music as well, seeing his band many times back in the day in like college time. And yeah, just, yeah, I guess, but like actual musical influences, is that kind of where you were going?
Well, no, just it could be someone who said, like your math teacher saying like, "Oh, you're terrible at math. You should play music or something." Like even something like that.
Yeah. No, I guess it'd be my bro and my wife's family.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's
we also the reason I think a lot of this resonated for us is because when we were kids, our family and our mom's side also big fiddle players.
Hmm.
The family reunions would have fiddle jams all the time, but it kind of skipped the generation. So there were no musicians in our parents' generation
Hmm.
in the family. Aunts and uncles, you know, still did play some, but it kind of like featured less prominently as time went on. Um, and for me, it was just high school friends that got me into it, right? Something to do to feel, to try to be cool in high school and play music with other people. But when the shift happened back to the more old timey, more folk kind of stuff, that one of the reasons it resonated was because it was always there in the family.
Hmm.
Our grandpa actually played the mandolin. I have That's his mandolin
Oh, cool.
on the chair over there. We never played together, but I just thought, you know, that would be cool to get back in touch with. And then my now wife's family, when we met, they were doing the jam circle thing all the time too. They live out in Elgin, um, and they've been kind of in the same area for a long time. A lot of musicians, jams at the family gatherings, and I was already early in the mandolin, and that's kind of when, for me, I was like, yeah, okay, we got to lock this in, you know, really honor those roots and and just play some cool music.
And honor the family names, right? Yeah, and it's funny how you mentioned how the music skipped a generation because I think that's sort of how it is for my family as well. Like, my mom, you could tell she's a little bit musical, but like nobody is into it as seriously as me or my older brother for sure. And our grandparents, like our grandmother taught music, and both of our grandfathers played organ, which is like
Nice.
so there's the musical genes for sure, but it tends to kind of skip over generations, which might be evident with my children right now. I'm not sure. But I'm curious, when you're writing a song, who are you writing for?
Mm.
I guess
I'm
for
writing for
me,
myself.
I was going to say the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff I
What?
want to get off my chest, you know, things I've been thinking about.
Hmm. And do you find your inner critic is a help or a hindrance to when you're writing for yourself?
I like to think that my inner critic is pretty fair. It's a
Yeah.
self aware inner critic that's pretty harsh, but respectful, you know? Uh, high standard, really want to produce something good, you know, that I want to be able to put on par with my influences. Um, the only thing, I guess, the only downside is that it sometimes can take a while to fully realize a song idea.
Sure.
Where I'll first come up with it, it'll flow. I'll get that first verse, first chorus, part of the second verse, and then, you know, it just sits for a few months
Hmm.
before it comes back around and finishes off. But
Yeah,
what about
same
you?
for me. I kind of get jealous of like people like Dan Reeder who can seemingly make a song out of a random thought, like about butterflies and stuff. Kind of wish I could just write more like spontaneously and quickly,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
yeah, it's something we're working on.
Yeah, and I think that people put too much of a weight on inspiration in my opinion. I think like putting in the work outweighs inspiration like by by a huge amount. Like when I'm writing songs, inspiration is like 5%. It's the tip of the iceberg. It's everything that's underneath about songwriting that people really like. People just look at the magic and the end results, but there's a lot more that goes on behind that.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
I would say my best work has come from that later stage of once the inspiration is over, um, making sure to come back with it and just, you know, forcing myself to sit with it and
Hmm.
think about it. Whether it's like taking that part of my routine where normally I'd be like listening to music while walking the dogs or going on a long drive somewhere and putting on tunes or a podcast, instead forcing the silence and just deciding, no, you're going to think about this now. And that it's the deliberately sitting in it and kind of working through it that really, I think, gets the song really to the finish line.
Right, right. And the subconscious aspect of it too. Like I feel like I've kind of trained my subconscious to kind of like to the gears to roll while I'm doing other things, and all of a sudden it'll like spit things out and I gotta like get to my notes app really quick.
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right.
one of my favorite songs that I've written came from some random thought about a old French song that we used to sing on the school bus,
Hmm.
combined with a movie I had just watched called The Green Knight. And then I don't know how it happened, but I just wrote that song in a day. So sometimes it's quick, sometimes you put a lot more effort into it.
Yeah, and that's the fun part about songwriting. You never know what comes out. We've got a few minutes left, so I think we'll end it here. But before I let you guys go, we should let everybody know that Friday Night Folk, CKCU presents Friday Night Folk, is going to be May the 1st at Art House Cafe, featuring you guys, the family name, and Ethan Mitchell. So I'm really excited to hear you guys come out and play, and it's going to be a fun night because you guys mentioned the milk carton kids, and if and you know Ethan, so he's got an alternate personality named Johnny Hollywood. So I'm hoping Johnny Hollywood will make a an appearance.
That boy ain't right, I heard.
Yes, that boy ain't right indeed. So it's gonna be and I write dark songs as well, but as you can tell, I'm not serious at all when I'm not writing songs. So it's gonna be a fun night. Lots of fun banter. I've put the pressure on all of us now, but yeah, May the 1st, Art House Cafe, CKCU presents Friday Night Folk. The family name will be there.
Great. Thanks for having us out, Matt.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, man.
thanks for joining me, guys. All right, thanks again to Ben and Jacob, the family name, for joining me. Again, it's May the 1st, Art House Cafe, CKCU presents Friday Night Folk. Come to the show, buy your tickets early, and don't forget your homework. Tell somebody about the podcast. Talk to you next time.